this quick video on the recent shift that happened. It happened like an hour ago. Uh, Rahu moved into the sign of Taurus and Ketu moved from Sagittarius to Scorpio. We have all been feeling the shift in some ways. I've heard coworkers talk about how tired they have been feeling. All my girlfriends have been complaining about how their body is just like not moving and they're feeling drained. It has also been pretty emotional and draining for me. That's why this video is coming out a little late. Um, but it's a shift that we are all feeling on a personal and collective level. I'm going to show you how this looks in an astrology chart. If you see here, this is from an hour ago at 8:45, and this is right now when I'm recording it. Ketu, this is the sign of Sagittarius, moved into Scorpio an hour later at 9:45. It moved into Scorpio. Same, Rahu was at 0 degrees uh, of Gemini, and then an hour later moved into Taurus. So if you see what the difference between Rahu and Ketu is jumping signs, but also changing nakshatras. So at 0 degrees Sagittarius, Ketu is in Mula nakshatra, and at 29:59, Ketu is in Jeshta nakshatra. So this area is called Gandanta because there is nothing that helps the planet transition. However, Rahu, if you see, it's at in 0 degrees Gemini, it's still in Mrigashira. At 29:59 Taurus, it's still in Mrigashira nakshatra. So that Mrigashira nakshatra really helps Rahu make a smooth transition into the other section of the zodiac. So what a lot of us are feeling, we are feeling a few things, but we're feeling this Ketu go through the Gandanta, which is a knot. It's actually a knot of energy in space. And it feels intense, especially the Gandanta between Sagittarius and Scorpio feels intense because Scorpio itself is a very intense sign where all our emotions and insecurities and our deep dark stuff that we keep hidden is what Scorpio carries. That's what the sign represents. Um, and then so this Gandhanta becomes like one of the toughest ones. The other Gandhantas are between Cancer and Leo. It's generally between water. It is always between a water sign and a fire sign. Uh, and then we have a Gandhanta between Pisces and Aries. And right now Mars is in that Gandhanta too. So we are feeling that, and Mars is aspecting uh, Venus. Saturn is aspecting Venus. We are all feeling that in our relationships, uh, where we are not feeling appreciated, acknowledged, or even that our emotional needs in relationships are not being met. So that's one of the things that's going on too. So there's a lot going on, but this big shift that Ketu jumping from Sagittarius to Scorpio, and I'm calling it a jump because it feels like a leap and feels like all of us have made that leap. Uh, yesterday was uh, very yesterday was very emotional for a lot of people, uh, especially in the United States. A lot of political events happening. It's emotional on the west coast of the United States where there are a lot of fires and people are just struggling to breathe. Uh, there is the pandemic, COVID-19 going on. The whole political scenario feels like, uh, you know, don't know what's happening. And then it also trickles down into our personal relationships because then we bring that collective consciousness into the personal relationship and then try to hash it out there and butt heads, especially when Ketu uh, was in Sagittarius and Rahu in Gemini. We are all butting heads with these ideas and our philosophies, and we are all becoming more and more polarized, and we forget to see the humanity in our neighbor, and we forget to acknowledge the person who's filling your grocery bags, because we are so caught up in our own political ideas and just the feeling of not being appreciated and the feeling of being rejected, feeling victimized, right? Um, so the shift that, and let me bring that up, we can see it in this chart. If I move it an hour ahead, uh, Ketu has moved into Scorpio and Rahu in Gemini. And I'm really feeling the Ketu end of this nodal axis. It's because Ketu in Mula Nakshatra, is really trying to uproot everything that doesn't serve us. It brings up a lot of disgust, right? Disgust is one of the emotions how Ketu expresses. So it brings up all these things that don't serve us, and we were just uprooting the weeds, so to say, because we thought that once we do all of that, it's going to be all good. But when Ketu moves into Scorpio, now that you have uprooted and cleaned the upper layer, you're able to see what's going on, and you feel like you've made this leap, you have done a lot of work, and now you are at the bottom of the ocean with a truckload of your own crap. Uh, you, 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 in Mula Nakshatra, it was easy to blame others, and it was easy to blame the politicians, the system, whoever, your parents, your friends, for everything that was not going right, your community. But when Ketu, with this leap into Scorpio, Ketu actually brings you face to face with your own emotional baggage. You're at this, and I call it the bottom of the ocean. It's because instead of, when you think about diving, you're on the surface, right? But what happens with Ketu making this leap is, instead of being on the surface, you find yourself suddenly at the bottom of the ocean, and then you look up and you have all your stuff that you have not dealt with right there. That's how it feels. uh, so everything that you have shoved under the rug over the years, over your lifetimes, you know now you have to pay attention to it because it's standing right in front of you. And it's really important for doing this kind of work. And I did not really touch upon what Rahu and Ketu are, but if you really personify these energies, because they're shadow planets, but if you personify these energies, Rahu is the head without the body, and then Ketu is neck down the entire body, right? So the head has all the five senses, right? It has the eyes, sight, smell, taste, hearing, touch, your skin. It has all the five senses. So the Rahu end of the node, which is the head, is going after everything in this lifetime. Um, that's where the soul is it's the marching end of the soul, where it's making the most progress, where it's ferociously going after things and grabbing it uh, and consuming it without really thinking about digestion. Ketu end of the node is everything neck down, and that's the repository of everything, all those events that happened in your life, right? And past lives. But those are the things that you don't want to see. I don't want to see below here. I just want to look forward. That's how the intellect or the mind is geared, right? And the mind is the moon. So these are the nodes of the moon. And the mind is geared to just look outwards without looking inwards and down. Nobody wants to see what's here. And so Ketu and Scorpio, like, is really making us see that. It's a great opportunity. Instead of just looking away, really looking at all these insecurities and things that just don't feel good. Why is that important? It is important because the Rahu end of the node in Taurus is becomes very stable. It wants to create things that are sustainable. things of beauty, things that you really enjoy, structures, all of that. That's only possible if you've dealt with things that you have been shoving under the carpet for years and years and years. So pay attention to it. It's big. Um, the nakshatra that Rahu is in right now, Mrigashira, uh, brings, especially in Taurus, it brings in this quality of just being like a deer, right? Inquisitive, curious, playful, of the jungle, in the forest, of the nature, just being in its own beauty. The deer itself is such a beautiful animal. So that Rahu end of the node is trying to do that. It's trying to tap into the beauty of nature and the beauty of just the animals and the species, and be that playful leela of nature, right? If you look at nature, it's very playful. Whereas the Ketu end of the node is really helping us really dig down, go deep within. The last time this whole transit happened was in 2002, when Rahu moved from Gemini to Taurus, and Ketu moved from uh, Sagittarius to Scorpio. This shift happened in 2002, and we were dealing with the aftermaths of 9/11. A lot of things came up then in after the 9/11 attack, and things that were a little bit closer to heart for me was, how the Muslims in the world were treated, and everybody was treated uh, like a terrorist. There's an Indian movie made, My Name is Khan, and it touches upon this. Um, so it's about Rahu and Ketu in this axis. You're trying to look at things that don't work anymore in the society, but from that place, creating a society that is more healthy, uh, where all our needs are met, right? And the only way your needs can be met is if you are in tune with what your own needs are. The nakshatras, like I said, is important. We talked about Rahu's nakshatra, which is Mrigashira, while it's making this leap. Ketu's nakshatra is Jeshta, and it moves from Mula to Jeshta. Jeshta is also called the Elder One, and it's important to remember that, because Ketu moving in Jeshta can lead to we losing a lot of elders in our society whom we look up to. But it is also a chance for others who have gained a lot of maturity to rise up in the society. We can see the dysfunctions of the older ways of being. And Jeshta, the nakshatra, denotes the older one, which is directly opposite Rohini in Taurus. The next nakshatra that Rahu will move into backwards is Rohini. And Jeshta and Rohini have this contentious relationship where Rohini is the maiden, she's the beautiful, delicate, more desirable one. And then Jeshta is the old crone and can feel undesired, but also has a lot of wisdom. So we have to channel ourselves to tap into the wisdom of the crone. We have to seek the wisdom of the crone, right? She's not the old hat, but she has a lot of wisdom. Same with nature, same with Earth. The Earth has been around for 4.5 billion years, almost like a crone, right? Um, and like tapping into the wisdom of the Earth to create a more sustainable life is what's being presented right now. Uh, I am actually hopeful because this whole cycle of Rahu moving into Taurus and Ketu moving into Scorpio presents us the opportunity to really create something sustainable. Rahu and Ketu, when most planets move forwards, so most planets will move from Aries to Taurus to Gemini to Cancer, but Rahu and Ketu move backwards. They move retrograde. So Rahu will move from Cancer to Gemini to Taurus to Aries. Ketu will move from uh, Capricorn to Sagittarius to Scorpio right now, then Libra. And this backward motions almost feels like unwinding of karmas, right? We are so attached to our karmas, and Rahu and Ketu moving backwards help us unwind that. The planets grab us, they're called grahas, they grab us to our karmas, and then Rahu and Ketu moving backwards, they really try to unwind that karma. It feels very intense. I've been speaking to the women in my community, and they have all been feeling it very intense this past couple of weeks. And I expect it to feel intense, even though on the external it might not be that intense, but within it might feel that intense for the next couple of weeks till Rahu and Ketu settle in their signs. Right now they are in Sandhi, they are at very low degrees when they're moving signs, but I expect things to become easier uh, once they settle in the sign and we understand these energies better. I hope this short update was very helpful. There are a lot of people who have made videos on Rahu Ketu uh, changing signs. My teacher Sam Jeffy has a free webinar out there that you can look at. Um, I saw some great videos by Kumala Sutton. You can definitely watch those and get more juice out of it. This was just my short update. Thank you.